So it's a pleasure to have Dr. Anirban Chakrabarti here as the chair of the session. And Anirban is currently the Director of Research and Development at Ashoka, and he leads the team at Ashoka University, the Research Development Office. And they have three separate verticals through the office. So there's grant management, research infrastructure management, and research personnel management. So Anirban is going to chair the session, next session this afternoon. Over to you, Anirban. And I should mention Anirban is also a member of the planning committee for our conference this year. Over to you, Anirban.
Thank you, Savita. So welcome all. I am Anirban from Ashoka University. This session's topic is institutional mechanism for facilitating high quality research. And we have three experienced research administrators and managers who will give presentation based on their professional practices on this topic. So first we have Ms. Ambili Dinesh, who works as a scientific officer C at the Dean's Office of NCBS, Bangalore. Ms. Dinesh has over 15 years of experience in varied fields from NGOs to MNCs, and then eventually leading up in this academia at the Dean's Office of NCBS, where she has been managing operations, various operations like faculty recruitment, career progression, award nomination, and all of these things for the last 6 years. And from her experiences, she will talk about the research management functions of a dean's office. The second speaker is Anshuman Shekhar. Anshuman is the quality assurance officer at the George Institution of Global Health. He is responsible for assisting researchers in achieving and maintaining quality research operation by managing on-ground operation for Center for the Operational and Research Excellence. His presentation title is Quality Assurance Framework to Enable Researcher to Achieve and Maintain High Quality Research. We also have Dr. Lata Chukki from NCBS Bangalore. Dr. Chukki is a scientific administrative manager for Animal Care and Resource Center and Mouse Genome Engineering Facility at the Bangalore Life Science Cluster. She also oversees many activities such as fiscal, legal, administrative policies, system procedures for the facilities. She has also worked with 3 startup companies to establish stem cell laboratories and independently also carry out research on stem cells. She has an interesting title named Doing More with Less, a research facility administrator role. So after this 3 presentation, we have kept 10-15 minutes for audience interaction. Please do write your questions in the Q&A box chat. So without further delay, let's start with the presentation for this session.
A very warm welcome to all of you to the IRMI 2022 Annual Conference, and a big thank you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak here. I'm Ambili Dinesh, and today I'll be talking about the research management functions of a dean's office. So let us begin with an introduction about me and my journey and how I reached NCBS. I did my master's in agriculture from Gujarat Agriculture University, the city famous for your Amul butter, utterly delicious. So from there, I joined an NGO in Ahmedabad called the Development Support Center. They had worked on watershed development in a few villages in Gujarat and now wanted someone to engage these villages in agriculture productivity enhancement activities. That is where I came in. This was a very enriching experience for me. While I was based in Ahmedabad, I was frequently required to travel to the field station situated in 4 corners of the state, plan and execute various interventions with the field team and villagers, build linkages with Krishi Vigyan Kendra, Agriculture College and the likes. I was having a blast here, but soon I had to move to Bangalore in 2004 for family reasons, where I found that joining a similar NGO was going to be very difficult, as I didn't know the local language and found it difficult to convince them that I can cross the language barrier with Malayalam and whatever Kannada I could learn. That is when my father suggested, why don't you change your field, maybe try medical transcription. So I thought, let me give it a go. So I got trained, joined as a medical transcriptionist, Went on to become a proofreader in 1.5 years. And my daughter was born in 2009, and I tried to continue to work till 2011 in this field. But by then I realized I didn't want to continue with this job profile of proofreading and training medical transcriptionists. I wanted to get into managerial role, but to achieve that here would mean working graveyard shifts or early mornings or late evenings, and I didn't want to do that either. Now that I wanted to spend time with my daughter. So I decided to take a career break, spend some time with my daughter, and in the meanwhile upgrade my skills and try to rejoin the workforce when she turned 6. So in 2015, when she started grade 1, I started my job hunt and eventually got into NCBS and INSTEM in October 2015 as assistant manager in the dean's office. My goal was to try this new role for a year or so, and if I don't deliver, then go back to proofreading, which would mostly mean work from home, flexible hours, etc., but no career growth, but be satisfied. And I must say it was tough in here. It was exactly what I wanted, as much as possible to test my skills as a manager in planning, organizing, multitasking, you name it. In one word, get the work done and no excuses. To my surprise, I shined at it from what I could say and from the feedback that I received from the faculty and staff here at NCBS and INSTEM. So in my talk today, I will give you a brief overview of the 3 important research management functions of the Dean's Office. In the context of a research institute in India, much of the research activity is organized and led by scientists who are members of the institute's faculty. The dean is the head of the faculty, and thus the Dean's Office provides administrative support for engagement of the institutional leaders with the work of the individual faculty and their research teams. The National Center for Biological Sciences is a center of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, an autonomous institute of the Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. At NCBS, the Dean's Office plays multiple functions in supporting the scientific activity of the institute. NCBS receives intramural funding, support from its parent department. This intramural funding, like extramural funding, is provided on the basis of a cycle of producing research proposals, external peer review, and the reporting of research output to the source of funding. The Dean's Office works with the Dean and the NCBS faculty, provides administrative support for all the elements of this funding cycle. The scientific output of a research institute depends on the quality of its faculty and the careful management of their career progression. Under the guidance of the Dean, the office manages many crucial aspects of a faculty's career progression and research environment. We facilitate faculty recruitment, their mentoring while on tenure track, tenure and promotions of post-tenure faculty members. Appropriate recognition of scientific achievements is a key aspect of career progression in a research environment. The Dean's Office facilitates this through managing faculty nominations for various national and international awards. And the last one is, as mandated by various apex bodies of the Government of India, a research institute conducts all of its activities in line with rules and guidelines as laid down by the law of the land and implemented through the work of statutory committees. All research work is vetted by relevant committees in the domains of biosafety, animal ethics, human ethics, and stem cell related work. The Dean's Office is the node for facilitating this and acts as an administrative bridge between scientists and their statutory committees to facilitate requisite approvals. So as I explained about the scientific reviews, this is the workflow which we use to get various proposals from faculty, get it QC'd and feedback sent back to them, and the dean and the director look at these proposals. This is scientifically reviewed, and for selection of reviews, the Dean's Office helps. Getting letters, the Dean's Office work. Then review reports are consolidated, presented to the management board, and these are the various reviews which are conducted through the Dean's Office. So let us move on to the faculty career progression. So we take care of, as I mentioned, we take care of recruitment, tenure assessment, promotions, So this is the workflow for a faculty recruitment. So as you can see from this, getting comments from the faculty is the major portion which drives the whole workflow. So my contribution over the 6 odd years in this role has been to get these inputs from faculty at various stages of the application as quickly as possible. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, here, the faculty search committee is the nodal point from where all the decisions happen. The faculty search committee is constituted of 5 to 6 faculty. It's senior and middle level of faculties. So this faculty committee requests for comments at various stages. So getting comments from faculty on various faculty applications is a little tricky. There is an online application portal. You send emails to them. You can remind them as much as possible, but usually the comments received is less. So when I came into this role, we had tested, once we tested this pre-screen interview. So basically what we would do is the faculty search committee would recommend the 2 to 3 faculty in the field of the applicant, have an online interview with the applicant and see if the applicant is good enough to be invited to give a seminar, a chalk talk, and a one-to-one interaction with the faculty here. So this is a considerable amount of time which is spent, 2 days. So this pre-screen interview helped a lot because there I set up the meeting, I bring all 4 people together, the applicant and the 3 or 4 committee members, faculty members basically, and they meet the applicant and within say 1 or 2 days, they send me their comments. So it's like 3 of them have discussed, and this is a very, very informative and very thought through information which gets fed back to the faculty search committee. So now we have made it a norm that unless an applicant is like very good on, looks very good on paper and all the members of the committee are like, we should invite this person no matter what. Other than that, if the faculty search has a little doubt, it's first, applicant is first met on pre-screen. And once the pre-screening committee says yes, we bring in the applicant for the seminar. So this saves time from both the ends, the applicant's time as well as the faculty here. And it also helps the applicant to meet various, more or less applicants to meet as many faculty as possible. So we'll move on to the next one. So this is a workflow for how once a faculty joins, what are the pre-tenure activities which happen before the faculty gets tenure, which happens at the center, and the promotions are all sent to TR for Colaba. This is the workflow of the various statutory committees that are managed through the Dean's Office: the Institutional Biosafety Committee, the Animal Ethics Committee, the Stem Cell Committee, and the Human Research, and the Institutional Complaints, Internal Complaints Committee. This is a basic workflow for how the statutory committees are run. We call for proposals, internal screening is done, and after the feedback and revisions, the proposal and agenda is sent to the committee. Committee asks for presentation from the PIs, and for the new proposals, the discussion and decisions are taken. Site visits, if it's needed, that is also done during one of these committee meetings. Minutes are prepared, the extracts sent back to the faculty for revision or anything, and after everything is complete, certificates are issued. And on the right side, I have various activities which are done through the Dean's Office after the approvals are received. So these are the various linkages that the Dean's Office maintains in order to get the various functions of the Dean's Office going. And this is a slide which I have prepared for somebody who's contemplating on taking a research management role. So to those people, I would say it's a very fine line between science and administration, because sometimes we feel that this is totally administration. It is not, because we need to understand the science to be able to support it. And it is not completely science as well, because we'll not be going into labs and working on stuff if you have been doing that before. So what I feel is usually we are trained in either of them. Either you have been in a lab working for your master's or your PhD, or you have been a manager and end up in a scientific institution where you have to manage scientific stuff. Both of it works. I can tell you, you would have seen my CV, which shows you that I am, what do you call it, jack of all, master of none. But if you put your effort to it, you can still shine. Second point, which I like to bring to everyone's notice, this is for newcomers again, that scientists are the core that we are working with. So they love three things. First is science, second, science, third is also science. So as long as we support them in a way that they are able to spend maximum of their time in the institute and doing what they love, everything else is going to fall in place. And to do all of that, what we need to do is set up processes. Something as simple as getting people's comment on time is going to help a lot in a system where we want to recruit high quality faculty. So even if it's the smallest input, try it out at a small scale. If it works, implement it, keep on revising it, and replace it when you feel that this is not going to work anymore. And last but not least, it's never too late to learn. We may be trained in a particular field, but when you find that, oh, there is something more, and now everything is available. Even if you are from a management field and you feel, oh, I don't know science, you can just take a basic science course. If you're from a science field, you feel that, oh, this is too much, you can take up any course on, say, project management or time management or anything of the likes. So I think with that I'll close. Oh yeah, I had one more thing. So I was very lucky to have joined NCPS, and both the deans at that time, that is Professor Upinder Bala and Professor Apurva Sarin, had a lot of patience to answer each of my query, and I trained very well under them. So in case you are in a place where not able to find a mentor, I would suggest these two books. One is Who Moved My Cheese? This is about change. There are 4 mice. One of them is very good at detecting change early. One resists change a lot. One adapts with time, as and when he sees the change, and one takes quick action. So you can decide which one you want to be. You want to be all of them, one of them. That's up to you. And the second one is 1 minute manager. So we as a research manager will have to manage people who we report to and also people who report to us. In that context, I feel a 1 minute manager helps a lot. There are 3 major points that the book emphasizes. One is 1 minute goal setting. It just takes 1 minute to clear your goals with people you're working with, either above or below you. Similarly, it just takes 1 minute to praise someone if something has gone very well the way you planned it. And it only takes 1 minute to give a reprimand if something has gone bad, because that reprimand works more than holding it, noting it down and giving the feedback after a year in the form of a performance appraisal or something. That usually doesn't bring the effect that you want. If something has gone wrong, telling the person just in 1 minute what went wrong, what can be done, is much effective than taking it after 1 year. So I would recommend you all to take a look at these two books. And with that, I would like to end my presentation. I'll be happy to take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anshuman Shekhar, and I'm working as a Quality Assurance Officer at the George Institute for Global Health. Today, I'll be covering the Quality Assurance Initiative at the George Institute, why a need for quality assurance arose, the framework that was developed to implement quality assurance, and a few of the challenges that we faced in implementation, and some of the next steps that we are planning in the coming time. So first, let me give you a bit of introduction on how quality assurance framework began at the George. So in 2020, the George Institute launched Strategy 2025. In this strategy, the Center for Operational and Research Excellence was created. So basically, this is abbreviated as CORE, and CORE brought together the research strategy, data management, statistics, and project operations units under one umbrella globally. So this covered the areas responsible for all aspects of a project lifecycle, starting from preparation program submission to publications. And again, cross-cutting initiatives were also included in the strategy. So quality assurance is one of the cross-cutting initiatives, and together with integrated databases and training and education. So these initiatives work together to provide support across the core units. We saw the development of a global quality assurance framework and a quality assurance team in the last 2 years. So the framework has been implemented globally across all our regional offices, and several resources have already been developed and are in place. And I will cover them here and where we are at so far. So as we all know that quality assurance and controls are used in every project. So it is not something which is new. And why do we then need a quality framework and a team for that? So uh, the quality assurance framework brings together the various resources, training, and management of quality controls to enable researchers to be able to run their projects knowing that they and their participants are protected. Their projects are achieving and maintaining ethical and scientific quality. They are working in an environment of good research culture and integrity. There are resources to assist in governance of their projects and practices. So in order to achieve this, it is also important to understand why quality assurance is good to have. Now, if I look at the slide, basically I have divided the benefits into three buckets. The first is the responsible research, then credible research, and standardized research. So what do I mean when I talk about responsible research? So given the ever-changing regulatory and legislative landscape, it is difficult for the researchers to keep up. Therefore, the efforts of quality assurance team ensures that the resources are updated and also trainings are provided from time to time whenever required. Then quality assurance team also checks and monitors project quality and safety issues linked to the project operations, and then discusses solutions and provide advice to the project team. Also providing mandatory training annually or as required to ensure the researchers are up to date and in compliance with different regulatory requirements required. When I talk about credible research, what I mean is that having quality assurance ensures that the research is credible through the optimal processes and the integrity is maintained. So the quality assurance processes also assist to ensure that the project operations are of high standard and trustworthy, leading to credible and quality publications. Now, when I go for standardized research, what I mean is that having easily available resources, so that will help the researchers prevent reinvention and save time. Also, sharing skills and knowledge in the development of resources and training. So basically, this also helps in capacity building and then learning from each other. And then all these help to enhance effective and efficient project operations for the researchers. And also to have baseline instructions and templates available. So when you're starting a project, so you don't have to reinvent the cycle. You have already something available, templates are on. So you need to then customize it according to the needs of the project. So now let us look at the framework. Now, in order for the George Institute to enhance and enable the researchers, a systematic approach of pulling things together was adopted through the development of the four pillars of the quality assurance framework. So the four pillars also represent the quality cycle, where if we look at the first pillar, quality, that is basically representing developing and implementing systems and processes, supporting the development and delivery of high quality research projects. This is the first stage of planning and development of resources and processes. And then comes the second pillar. So you have compliance. Now, what we mean by this is basically complying with relevant internal and external policies, regulatory requirements, and across all relevant regions and at all times. So this represents the implementation of the systems and processes and then applying it, using it, and testing it. So now we are coming to the third one, which is risk management. So here, what I talk about is implementation of a robust risk management system across all areas of research governance, management, and research operations. So this stage represents the assessment of the systems and processes following implementation and application to identify any risk or issues. Now, if I go for the last pillar, which is governance, so basically here having governing systems established to manage research capacity and improvements at all levels. This last stage is basically reviewing and ensuring any risk and issues are attended to, and the changes that are needed are made to improve. Now, let us go into the details, a bit of details regarding all the pillars. So this is the first pillar, quality. Now, in the systems and processes, there needs to be planning and consultation. So at the George Institute, the integrated database was launched in November 2020. This pulled together several systems and databases into one database, which we can now use to check quality of the projects. More work is being done to integrate and add more on the system. Then work on consolidation of the policies, SOPs, templates, work instructions, guidelines. So this commenced in 2019. And now there is a core intranet page where all the resources are easily accessible to all the staff. And continuing work is being done across the various George Institute offices to adjust, develop new resources, and review where required. So researchers are invited to contribute with the expertise and experiences in development of the various resources that are required. And as mentioned, notification or if required, training are also provided following the release of resources. Now, this cycle that you see in this slide provides an overview of the collaboration and working closely with researchers on standardizing, improving, and creating awareness of the resources. So we create the resources, we help in creation of the resources. All the researchers come together to create the resources, and then we then create awareness about the resources that have been created. So one example is working with a small working group of researchers with expertise in qualitative research on an identified gap in the delivery of qualitative study protocol. So a qualitative study guideline was drafted by the expert group and reviewed. So basically, this was meant for early career researchers. And once everything was finalized, it was submitted to the quality assurance team for release. So the resource was then uploaded to the intranet for staff to use. So this is the overall process, how we then come up with development of resources. So identification of the gap, then working committee is formed, then they then deliberate on that, create the resources, and then finalize it, review it, finalize it, and then it goes to the intranet. And then we again go ahead with creating awareness about it, or if training is required, then providing training also. So the George Institute also has several staff sessions once a month where the quality assurance team can also present the updates on the systems and processes, or we can also then email broadcast and small group presentations also. So if new staff is joining, so then we arrange for small group presentations and discussions where we create awareness about our systems and processes. Now, if we come to the second pillar, which is compliance, so let me discuss about it. As mentioned, the quality assurance will assist researchers to maintain compliance in the ever-changing regulatory world. So quality assurance under this pillar works to ensure our systems and processes are in compliance with regulatory and legislative requirements. This will enable researchers when following internal and other contractual requirements to be in compliance. So also mandatory trainings are there, so which are compulsory, such as ICGCP, important policies such as conflict of interest policy, research code of conduct policy, etc. So these are some of the policies also which mandatorily the researchers are also needed to go through. Then quality assurance also use the integrated database to check and monitor quality of the data and project information that is being entered. And this provides good information for reporting and decision making within the George Institute on areas of strengths and weaknesses. So if I look at the third pillar, which is risk management, let me discuss more on that. So in risk management, these are the five different steps in the process. So the first step is to identify that there is a risk or issue, then to assess or analyze the issue and determine its severity, urgency, and impact. Then the risk or issue will need to be then reported, and our integrated database has a section where a risk registry is maintained for each project. The issues can be recorded there and the action plan then developed for it. So for example, if you have a risk which is in severe category or maybe even in medium category, which is going to have a severe impact on the project or the organization. So there like an action plan needs to be developed and then that mitigation strategy needs to be then adopted to then control the risk and minimize the impact or like mitigate the risk. So the issues can be recorded there in the risk registry and the action plan is then developed. So this register is for the risk or issues specific to the project actually. However, through the quality assurance team review of these risks and issues, it might also help in highlighting the strengths and weaknesses of the systems and processes. Or are there any gaps? Or there is any need that needs to be, there's an urgent need that needs to be addressed. So the monitoring and review of the risk register is done monthly by the quality assurance team, and licensing is then done with the individual researchers as needed to support solutions, and also, if required, escalations to the management if the risk has greater impact beyond the project. Now coming to the fourth pillar, which is governance. Here in this area of governance, basically it is broadly covering research governance and organizational governance. So the overall structure and leadership, which provide oversight and guidance, is an important aspect of the quality framework. For the framework to be successfully implemented and have continuous improvements, there has to be working groups, committees, and clear approval processes and reporting lines. So this will assist not just good governance, but ability to expedite the things also. Now, openness and transparency with a culture of welcoming feedbacks is important to ensure improvements. So at the George Institute, our organizational values of humanitarian excellence, creativity, integrity, can do, and in fact drive the culture of good governance. However, it is not without some challenges when we implement quality assurance initiative and the framework. So many researchers have been doing quality with their projects. Hence, there needs to be a good buy-in for standardization and guidance to best practices, and can be a bit of difficult at times. So, however, in the last year, the engagement and cooperation is increasing slowly, and uh, as they see that there are benefits, and as the quality assurance team also builds more relationship with the researchers, so we are getting more buy-in for our initiatives. Then keeping up with the work in an ever-changing external environment. So it is difficult, and more resources with the quality assurance team may be needed. Then a lot of resources have been developed. However, with diversity and creativity in research, it has been a challenge to ensure that the resources are applicable to all the projects. So this is a work in progress to be flexible and create specific resources where needed, with similarities covered in the broader system and processes, whilst getting consensus and consistent understanding across all project teams. These are some of the next steps. So I have mentioned some steps to overcome the challenges, but at the same time, we are moving forward with next steps, such as development of project management systems. So a new clinical trial management system is being piloted. Then grant management system. So we are working on bringing in a grant management system so that the grant application management is streamlined. Also, there are efforts to improve the quality of data that is coming in the databases. So through more one-on-one trainings and definitions and business rules in the integrated databases. Then scaling up of project risk review process. So with more resources being discussed, and then bedding down a more simple methodology of review. So these are some of the steps which are taking ahead so that we have better quality of data coming in. and then we can be of more and more help to the researchers. So thank you so much for listening and hope this has been helpful to you. Questions are welcome. Thank you so much.
Good day, everybody. I'm Lata Chuki from National Center for Biological Sciences. Today, I'll be speaking about a research facility administrator role, representative of the facility managers managing core research facilities in academic institutes. My talk is mainly focused on the survey which is conducted among the facility managers in the core research facilities of the Bangalore Life Sciences cluster. My talk covers what are the introduction to core research facilities and the role of the facility manager, the organizational structure of the Bangalore Life Sciences cluster, my survey methodology, and the solutions provided by the facility managers themselves, who were my respondents. So what are core research facilities? Core research facilities are centralized or shared research facilities and research institutions providing access to high-end instruments, technologies, services, and experts. The major advantages of these facilities are consolidation of resources under one roof to reduce costs and provide equal access to these emerging areas of research, which was otherwise not possible if they were housed in individual laboratories. Therefore, they foster a collaborative research environment, which is crucial for translational research. These core research facilities are run like small non-profit business enterprises that utilize a fee-for-service model for their self-sustenance. And these can range from a simple user laboratory to an all-inclusive services. A simple user laboratory could be a microscope which is shared among different laboratories but managed by one facility manager. An example of all-inclusive services would be a DNA sequencing platform or a DNA sequencing facility where the user presents their sample to the DNA sequencing facility. The facility not only sequences a sample but also provides a data analysis for the same. And who runs all these facilities? These facilities are run by dedicated skilled personnel that include the facility manager and the technical staff. And their technical expertise form the indispensable part of the value proposition. Further, I would like to speak about the facility manager and their roles. So who are facility managers first? They are academic researchers with a strong research background, but having a domain expertise in any of these high-end technologies, like the imaging technology, the screening facility technology, or the animal facility, genome engineering facility, or the mass spectrometry. These are few examples of the facilities or the high-end technologies utilized commonly among all the researchers. So what does the facility manager or the director do? They provide services and consultation to researchers to facilitate highly technical and specialized scientific research. They maintain the facility to ensure high quality service to the research community. They manage the core staff of the facility, the research projects coming into the facility, and also provide a strategic direction to the core facility. In doing all these roles, along with their technical expertise, they're supposed to be experts in operations management, financial, training or hiring procedure, client negotiation skills, and the business acumen to increase the user base, which constitutes all the administrative tasks. And while doing this, they're faced by many challenges, which can be classified into internal challenges, external challenges, and the future challenges. The internal challenges are called the 6 M's of business. That's money, management, manpower, machinery, materials, consumables, and methods. Whereas the external challenges affecting the facility management goals are political, economical, socio-cultural, technological challenges, with the government policies being the major challenge. The future challenges are a culmination of the internal challenges and external challenges if they are not addressed in time. My survey mainly focuses on these internal challenges. That's the finance, operations, manpower, equipment, and operational processes, which could affect or have a high impact or form a barrier to the facility management goals. Before going into my survey methodology, I would like to speak about Bangalore Life Sciences Cluster. Bangalore Life Sciences Cluster is a cross-institutional core alliance among 4 premier institutes. That's NCBS, National Center for Biological Sciences, INSTEM, the Institute for Stem Cell Science and Regenerative Medicine, CCAM, the Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms, and the relatively new institutes that the Tata Institute for Genetics and Society. It's an excellent model for sharing resources, which has a common goal of devising new therapies or medical procedures or diagnostics for the improvement of general public health. My survey was conducted among the facility managers of all the research facilities housed in these 4 institutes. And how are these facilities organized? What's the organizational structure of these facilities? The facility staff or the technical staff report to the facility manager. The facility manager reports to the head facility as well as the faculty advisory committee. The role of the head facilities is to provide administrative guidance to the facility manager. The faculty advisory committee provides the strategic guidance to the facility manager, and the head facilities and the faculty advisory committee report to the facility coordination committee, which is constituted by the dean research or the head research from all these institutes, which in turn report to the cluster board, which is formed by the directors of these 4 premier institutes. Coming to my survey methodology, I did an initial scoping of the literature of the 6 internal challenges. That's the finance, manpower, equipment, consumables and operations, etc., and came out with a set of questions which were further refined or grouped into these themes with relevancy to the model which I used of the Bliss cluster model. And that formed 2 questionnaires, that's questionnaire 1 and 2. Questionnaire 1 was given to facility managers, whereas the questionnaire 2 was given to the faculty advisory committee members. Both the questionnaires had the internal challenges divided into the 5 broad categories and the subcategories to the 5 broad challenges. The facility managers and the faculty advisory committee members were told to rate the challenges on a 5-point impact rating scale, with 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. If the challenge had got a rating of 5, it meant to say there was the challenge had a significant impact on the facility management goals. If the challenge had a rating of 1, it meant to say it had a low impact on the facility management goals. And since my population size of only 15 plus 6 was very small, I only did a percentage analysis. I would also like to mention that confidentiality was maintained in all aspects of my survey. This is a brief snapshot of my questionnaire design. As I mentioned before, the broad categories had subcategories where I spoke about in finance, and I asked the facility managers if they faced with the challenge of inadequate financial resource, either for hiring staff, upgradation of facilities, preventive maintenance, or for training programs. The same way, the other categories like manpower, consumables, and equipment were again subdivided into different categories, which I would be speaking with during the results. And lastly, I also asked the facility managers and the faculty advisory committee to rate these broad categories again on the 5-point rating scale. Here are my survey results. When asked whether the finance was a big challenge or did the inadequate funding was enough, before that, I would like to talk about the sources of funding. The sources of funding for the facility are either from the user fee or grants written to different agencies, or central funding to the salaries of the facility managers or directors. Coming back to my challenges, the challenge having the highest impact factor was hiring more skilled staff or upgradation of the facilities. And the solutions provided by the managers were a special support grant for either upgradation of the facility on a rolling basis. It means to say that every facility in 1 year would get certain amount of funds for the upgradation, or the institutional support to maintain high value instruments like the cryo-EM, and then central funding for more positions other than the facility managers, and increase facility usage or occupancy to generate more income and offset the maintenance costs. Coming to the second challenge, that's manpower, I would like to specially mention that across all the categories of the facilities where the survey was conducted, manpower seems to be the most critical challenge. And the highest impact rating went into inadequate skilled manpower. When I say inadequate skilled manpower, it means to say when we advertise for these positions, we did not get sufficiently skilled manpower. And also, after hiring, because of lack of suitable remuneration, it reached the low productivity or high attrition rate. So the solutions provided were robust retention policy of the highly skilled staff. And since we are facilities having cutting edge technologies, there should be sufficient remuneration for highly qualified personnel and a fund allocation for external training to advance the knowledge of the facility staff. Equipment on a whole got a very low rating, but within the subcategories of equipment, we found that the replacement of aging equipment had the highest impact factor. I would also like to mention that in case of equipment, in case of the replacement cost of the equipment, it is due to the lack of government policy. So it's partially affected by the external policies. And due to the lack of government policy for utilization of facility funds, and because of the high maintenance cost being a major constraint, we could see that the replacement costs and the huge capital investments, along with the operational issues, became a huge challenge. So the solutions provided were accurate granular condition data or the future renewal profiling of the life cycle of the equipment to have an advanced planning of replacement of the equipment. In addition, upgrade the skills of the in-house instrumentation department for regular maintenance of the high-end equipment, and also have a governmental policy for easing logistic and operational issues that could address the issue to some extent. Consumables got the lowest rating in the broad categories, whereas within the subcategories of the consumables, delayed procurement seemed to have got the highest impact. The solutions provided were reducing the downtime in the purchase procedures that would contribute to the efficient planning of the fund utilization, having a rate contract for regularly used consumables, which is common to almost all the facilities and all the user laboratories, and also do a bulk order by forecasting for 1 year. Operational processes are one of the most important challenges. So in this operational processes challenge, the subcategory which got the highest impact factor was the organizational structure. Before I go into the challenge, I would also like to mention that the sharing of the facilities among the 4 institutions were very much appreciated because of the increase in the user base and access to n number of technologies. Whereas due to the different administrative processes among these institutes, that also became a hindrance. But the solutions provided were alignment of the facility goals to the institutional strategy or the institutional goals, develop a robust strategy and differentiate between the core and the non-core activities and provide effective manageable processes, and also establish a performance development framework and reward incentives for efficiency to attract skilled personnel in the facilities. And lastly, improve the facility visibility for outside users to boost usage and reduce internal costs. In all the broad categories, as I said lastly, they were told to rate the broad categories. Manpower came out as was perceived as the most critical challenge. But however, I would like to also point out that the other challenges, that's the operational process, equipment, and the finance, however, were not in the low impact category, demonstrating their effects on the facility's efficiency. In summary, The measures which were given to address the challenges were the alignment of the facility goals to the institutional strategy, diversifying the source of income to generate more income is not only the user fee, but also through grants and other revenue streams, and more long-term visibility and freedom to the facilities to manage their own income for reinvestment, capacity building, and networking. Adequate salary and compensation to retain skilled manpower. The other measures were investment in efficient and lean technologies. For example, invest in a software which would help in the administrative tasks like project management, fee calculation, etc., so that you can work on lean budgets. Other example could be building automation systems in HVAC lighting controls that could provide solutions for energy efficient performances. And again, I mentioned increase the facility visibility and accessibility to increase the user base and generate more income. For example, you can have more industry collaborations or go into more cross institutional alliances within the same region. And in case of high-end technologies like the EM or the cryo-EM, there should be long-term funding options for the maintenance and expansion of the facility. Lastly, I would like to say that training of the facility managers in short-term courses covering the administrative, financial, and project management aspects would improve their competence in running the core facility functions. So in conclusion, I would like to say the success of a facility would be to hire the right staff, create a critical mass of users, or develop industry network and stay relevant. Thus, the foundation for the successful research institute lies in strengthening or refining its core facilities that enable cutting-edge life science research. These are the references. I would like to acknowledge my team. I'm a part of Animal Care and Resource Center. I would like to acknowledge the team who have been in every step of the pathway for my survey. I would also like to acknowledge and thank Dipti, who is the co-head of facilities along with me, who has been an integral part of the survey and also been my biggest critic. I would also like to thank my faculty members who have supported all the way and been a big critic while performing the survey. Thank you.
Thank you so much for some lovely presentation. So we have some questions in the chat box. For Ambili, are you using any software?
Anirban, sorry if I can interrupt. Could our speakers just turn on their videos?
Sure.
Thanks.
Hello?
Yes, I think we're all here. Yeah.
So one question is from Bhavna, CDRI, to Ambili mainly. So are you using any software for the recruitment and tenure review process, or it is all manual in
Yeah, so
NCPS?
thank you for the question and thank you everyone for the. So what I wanted to say was for the recruitment, we have an online portal. So the applicants apply there and the faculty, the dean, everyone puts their comments and everything. So we have an online portal. But for the recruitment, it's partial. Rest of it is then done manually over emails.
Okay, thank you, Ambili. Bhavna, for your information, there are a lot of softwares nowadays implementing in higher education administration, which caters the faculty recruitment, tenure process, everything in a very proper manner. I mean, Interfield is very popular. I think TCS also is coming up with a university management system. We have last year in the conference, we have Sthira presented grant management system. They are also looking into implementing of overall softwares. So yes, there are a lot of software solutions also. For Anshuman, I think I have one question, Anshuman. So you have presented really very well this quality assurance framework and all of these things. So do you also incorporate the monitoring and assessing of employees' benefit and advantages in the central quality assurance framework?
So currently, thank you so much for your question. And so currently, we are mainly working on assessment of the projects and project reviews, and also that we are starting with that. So we are piloting project reviews, not such the benefit systems and all. And for that, I would like so my even mentors are here, so I would like them to add anything they want. To Joyce and Madhuri are there. So if they want to add anything on that.
Because that was also a very crucial part for your quality assurance, right? I mean, not
Yeah,
only
so
from outside point of view, internally, how you are doing better for your own staff, own employees. So that was one of the part I saw was not there in your structure or the framework you presented. So do you have any plan for?
So basically for quality, initially right now we are piloting for the project reviews for that part, I'd like Joyce to answer that question because Joyce is here.
Hi, I'm Joyce Lim. Yes, so the quality assurance framework was built specifically for enabling researchers to run their research. So that is the first phase, and we've only just built that in the last year. The feedback loop is actually in the governance loop, which we are actually looking at research governance. And that is the part that we are developing. And so it hasn't got there. But yeah, it is very important to see how the utility of the framework by our staff. And this is something that we do get feedback. And in the feedback loop, we actually do have in our internet a feedback comment for people to, and also in the development of our processes and our policies and SOPs. It is done in consultation, as Anshuman mentioned. And so we do get feedback from the staff on those processes.
Thank you. I think next, I want to just ask Dr. Lata, thank you very much for this very articulated presentation and analysis of the challenge. You presented really well for the central facilities and all. Do you have any processes or framework of audit for the central facilities you are running? And not only from a financial point of view, also for operational point of view. We are also thinking for going for that kind of audit of these facilities from your end or some internal audits. Dr. Lata?
I said we don't have a very formal audit, but they are, very informal audits which are performed time to time. And we kind of meet, because now since I'm the head facilities along with Dipti, so we kind of meet each of the facility managers and we kind of ask, and if they have any challenges or any this thing in the daily operations, they do come to us and we address them. So there's no formal audit, but there's some informal audits which we face.
Thank you. I think we have another question from another guest to Dr. Lata. Just curious to know if the proposed solutions are implemented or being implemented by the institute.
Yes, certain solutions are being implemented, especially in case of finance. Most of the solutions are being implemented, especially increasing the visibility, trying to get more users, and trying to network with other institutes. That is being done.
Thank you. So another question for Ambili from Pankaj Gupta. What kind of challenges you face and address in day-to-day while working with the senior management of the institute? Ambili, I mean, I just wanted to add one more thing. You have mentioned, you have started your presentation with a lot of challenges being woman, you came from your role. So what do you feel? What is your feeling about, just prevailing those challenges in the workplace? I also have the similar questions for you.
Okay, so I don't know how to answer that. I'll just say that my my goal anywhere I am is to be part of the solution, not be part of the problem. That is my goal. So how I put it up is senior management is faculty. They have their science to do, they have their various committees to attend, and they have multiple work. So if I am sitting in the dean's office, I would need only their 5 minutes in a day. So I'll tell you an example. When I joined here, this was in 2015, Professor Upinder Bhalla was the dean and Professor Apurva Sareen was the dean of INSTEM. They both are managing various things, and they have one person who has come for just 5 months because there's another person who has gone on maternity leave. Now to get it, so we have processes to do, say for example, something is stuck. I need their approval before I can go ahead, right? And I can write emails to them. There will be multiple emails for them. So what I would do is when they come to the office, because they all sit in their lab offices and they come to admin only for particular work. So what I developed is every day when they come, I'll just need 5 minutes of them. I have a list of things. They just have to give me yes or no or what is next to be done. For that activity, where I'm stuck, that is the only thing I'm going to do. Before that, I would have done everything else. So if I say I'm stuck here and they say this, I'll say I've done this, and this, and now I'm stuck, tell me what to do. So they are like, so after a certain point, they themselves started coming and saying, Amli, what is it? And I'll tell them these two are important. They say, I have a meeting in 5 minutes, you tell me what is that. 5 minutes, the problem is solved. They go and I work on them. So this is my way of working. Now, more or less, everybody around me knows that when I ask you for a doubt, if you can answer, otherwise you forward me to the next person, because I'll be persistent. I won't leave you till the time you answer. So, I mean, I hope I answered the question for both of you.
Thank you. There is another question from Bhavna. I think all of you can just think for it. Identifying gaps and working on solution require lots of follow-ups. Is there any project management tools at personal, smaller level to facilitate such tasks? So, anybody wants to answer this?
I think Anshuman would be, because I think they have developed a project management tool, so maybe I would like to hear from him.
So I'll start with the response, and then I would like others to add. So basically, right now we are not using any project management system for like smaller issues. So for example, like if we have if we talk about the integrated databases, so we have like specific tasks defined on that. So for example, project related documentation or project related information that has to be administrative information has to be maintained. Or for risk management, we have like risk registries and all. So we have a process defined that I'll be going ahead with monthly reviews and all. And then I'll be have a mailing systems that are developed where like, I then send mailers, and also these are some of the issues. And then when like required, then I have communications where in that I set up calls with the project managers. Again, we have like no point of contacts also for different projects. So then I don't contact the whole team. I'll be contacting the particular person. And then we take up the issue, discuss, and then what solution can be there. So that's the overall process that we have. Again, we are developing more systems, bringing in more systems. So like project management system also where we are going for cloud. And there also like then things will be more centralized. And then we can then have a better communication and better like management of different processes in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anshuman. I think apart from the management tools, there are few management tools to to identify the gaps and how to proceed about it. Management tools are definitely this, and a lot of institutions are following it. Even at our university also, we have now introduced from the HR, we have now introduced at the beginning of the year, you have to say your goals. Then after every 3 months, the HR will come and see what are the progress you are doing, and they will also give you advice. Your manager, your reporting authority, everybody will sit. So that process is really very helpful to identify the current state, identify where you want to go at the end of the year or something, and identify the gaps, bridge the gaps in a proper manner, and that's it. So anything else, any further questions? We have already completed 1 hour, our scheduled time. Thank you so much. It's really very wonderful, talking with you, having your presentation here. Over to Savita. Savita, we are on time, I hope.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, you are. Thank you. Wonderful sessions, very inspirational, amazing work. And Anirban, thanks a lot both for your work on the committee and for chairing today's session.